Welcome back, everybody, to Comic Shop Talk on the Late Night Collectors community. I'm your host, Nico, and joined with me today, as always, my co-host, Chris. How you doing, Chris?
Hey, not too bad. How you doing?
Yeah, not bad, not bad. A little tired.
Big week, big week.
Yeah, a little tired from all the millions of comics you read this week and the hours of films I had to watch. We'll get into that a little bit later,
Oh,
but
yeah.
such a hard life, guys. Being a fan of these things and enjoying the hobby, it's such a hard life. No, I mean, this is our escape, in that sense, for sure. We do enjoy doing this. This is a lot of fun, as always. Thank you for tuning in. If you're new to the show, make sure you please subscribe to the channel. If you like what you saw here today, hit that like button, hit the notification bell if you want to be notified every week when these episodes come out weekly for you guys. And we normally drop these every either Friday or Saturday every week. We try to get in there a little bit early in the week, as long as we're kind of done reading our comics by then, so we can talk about them with you guys. And as always, if you know a friend who's into this stuff, let them know about our channel as well to check it out. We got all kinds of different videos and playlists here of different shows. Just this past week, I actually just put out my my comic book hauls and review video for the month of February 2022, actually, just a couple of days ago. So over the last couple of weeks, I caught back up. I've put out comic book haul and review videos for the months of December, January, and February. So go back and check that out in our playlist. That's where I talked about collected edition comic books that I purchased, like trade paperbacks, omnibuses, hardcovers. And I give you my quick reviews on thoughts on the things that I purchased throughout those months. So definitely check that out. And as always, to talk about the comics here today, sometimes we do need to get into some of the details about those comic books. So spoiler warning for all you guys out there. We'll try our best not to spoil the big surprises that we think will spoil your discussion or your chance to read that for yourself, right? So but as always, we do leave it in the show notes. So if you do want to bounce around, you want to avoid certain comic books that we are talking about, you can enjoy majority of the rest of the show. If there's some things you're not reading or you just really don't care, just check the show notes, because every episode I put out the show notes. I kind of let you guys know when we're talking about certain books. If there's a couple of things you may just want to skip, or if you haven't got to reading them yet, check them out and then come back and watch us. So we do our best though, as always, right, Chris?
That's it.
Yeah. All right. Anyways, Chris, I think you got a little catchphrase going for you these days. Why don't you hit us with that one?
All right, let's talk comics.
There you go. As I crack the beer. Let's get into it. Oh man, I spilled all over my comics. No.
Whoa!
All right. Here we go. So, and we also, the return of the camera view for comics as well here for you guys. Let us know if you continue to like this. We tried it out last episode. I think it was pretty successful. I enjoyed it enough, but with the glare, sometimes it's a little hard, but we'll try our best just to show off some of the art in these books. All right. Dark Knights of Steel #5, the first one up.
That's it.
I know we always look forward to this one. What'd you think of this issue, man?
The first comic I read, and wow, that's all I have to say, man. They're back on track. The art is on point. That Ivy, Harley, Wonder Woman, and Supergirl in the forest, that was a good thing going on. And then freaking thing just go freaking haywire from there. I don't know if you want to spoil what goes on there.
No, we should not. But the second half of this book, actually probably even the last quarter of the issue, there is some crazy things that go down in this book. They basically changed the whole direction of the title in a way where I didn't see coming. Kudos to Tom Taylor. What a great idea, because he's basically flipped the archetypes of these characters on its head. Like, all I got to say is, like, some characters are way different by the end of this issue, and the story's going in a completely different direction, and there's so many possibilities. And honestly, it was amazing, man. This issue was probably my favorite issue of the series so far, probably since like the first or second issue, when it just, like, we're like,
Yeah.
wow, is great. Like the return of the artist Yasmin Putri, who wasn't on the last issue, and me and Chris were really disappointed about that. But the return of the regular series artist, I guess they had to get caught up for this amazing issue or something, man, because man, was this issue awesome. Like Chris mentioned, the scenes with all of them kind of coming together in the forest, Supergirl and kind of Harley and what's her name, Poison Ivy here, and everybody kind of converging together in the forest. And yeah, there's a lot of drama going on between all of their kingdoms and a lot of things. Supergirl looks like she lied here. I don't know what that's all about.
Yeah, like that's what I was gonna say. Like I don't know if she really like was in like some bloodlust and she forgot, or if she's lying. But wow, that's it. I don't know if you want to give ratings on this one.
Man, I mean, right out the gate, I got to give this a 5. Man, this. Wow, Chris, is this your first 5 ever on the show?
This is going to be my first 5. Dark Knights of Steel number 5. Everything was good about this one.
You sure know. You sure know how to pick it. Absolutely deserving of this 5. I agree with you, man. It's
like, if the art sucked in this, it would have dropped it down to a 4.5. If that story was anything different, it would have been a 4.5. But everything was on point with this one.
I mean, look at the art. Like it's so wonderful. Yeah, this one. Yeah, and not only that, like that ending, guys, we can't even get into it, but that ending alone is such a moment, and I'm so excited for the next issue, and that will only be the halfway point through this series. Like that's what's great about it. Like it really needed this issue. Not to say that it was low.
It was starting to kind of like it started to get a little blah, and I thought it was losing its way. But this, like even the cover for this one here, I think this is better than any of the variant covers that it came out for this week. I thought this was all great. 5.
Wow, that's just a big deal, guys. For all you guys that don't know out there, Chris has never given a 5 rating out on the show. Never. This is his first 5 rating. Wow. So yeah, right out the gate, that's something we always look forward to, and I'm glad I'm glad you agree, Chris, because I couldn't agree more on that one. And also something worth mentioning, I wanted to ask Chris on the show here today is the fact that everybody approaches their pull list, like the way their stack, how they read it differently. And it sounds like me and Chris have the same approach. You read the stuff in order of how much you're looking forward to them.
Most like there's the first couple that I really like, or there's 1 or 2 I really want to read. Then I'll try and save some good ones for the end too.
Okay.
And it depends kind of what's going on. I try and switch up the moods or the vibes of the comics that I'm reading, just so it's not the same. Like, if I read a real meaty comic, I'd rather read one, next one, like more of a happy-go-lucky story. You know what I mean?
Fair. Yeah. I kind of go by stuff I'm most looking forward to. I put to the top of my stack.
Yeah.
Because what I find that's nice about that, and then everybody reads weekly comics, guys. This is true. I've talked to a lot of different people. Everyone's got different ways of doing this. So that's why I thought it'd be interesting to chat about it for a moment. And then sometimes what I like about this method is the stuff you may not be looking as forward to, even though it's at the bottom of your stack. Sometimes there's like a really good issue that comes out of a series that's been kind of like bland lately, let's say. And then I really actually like ending on that note where I'm like, yeah, you know what? This one was really unexpected. But sometimes you put all the stuff all the best stuff at the top, and like the way you rank it, it kind of plays out that way. So you know what I mean? So it's like your evening keeps getting more disappointing as it goes on, because you're like, these aren't as good as the first few I read, right? And this was a really great week of comics this week, and a huge week for us guys. So I'll stop yapping here in a moment, but yeah, it was a pretty solid week overall for the amount of comics that I read this week, and I think Chris was saying the same. But you'll see ratings all over the place, but this was the first thing I read this week too, Chris, to your point. Like this is the thing I was excited about. Some people read by the companies too. Like I think Christine, that's how she does it. She bunches.
I try and switch back and forth.
Same. She tries to read like all her DC, and then she'll do least looking forward to most looking forward to. That's how she reads it. So it's completely different than the way I read it. But I try to get out of that, because sometimes if it was DC, if I'm reading all my DC together, I'm gonna read like 5 Batman books in a row. So that's like,
it's that thing that you can't.
No, you gotta
unless they're interconnected somehow, but otherwise.
Yeah. All right. Anyways, sorry. Next up, guys. Strange #1. So this is the new. Ooh, is that an art germ cover?
That's an art germ variant.
Hold on a second. Hold that up there. I'm gonna see that. That's a nice one. That's a nice one, man. That's a nice cover. I really dig that one.
I'm a big fan of the art germ.
That's a nice one.
Followed him on Instagram.
So this is Strange #1, the new written Jed McKay series with a couple different artists. It looks like on this. This is the outcome of basically the Death of Doctor Strange miniseries that Jed McKay also wrote. Clea is now the Sorcerer Supreme. What do you think of this one, Chris?
I thought it was good. Like I'm not a big I didn't know much about Clea, so it was a good introduction to her. And I don't think the spoiler saying Doom was in the comic. Well,
Great Doom.
spoiled out there anyway.
Yeah, I mean, Doom's always associated with Sorcerer Supremes because he's got he does the magic thing as well. And him and Doctor Strange have had a long history as well. So, I was going to mention that specifically, Chris. That was a great scene with Doom. Great
Yeah.
Doom. Like, he came there and basically was kind of like, swinging his dick around, like,
yeah, right, knocking on that door like crazy. Just weird seeing Doom knock on the door, like usually he just arrives, you know what I mean? And I like that she put him in his place.
That's what I mean by that's what I meant by swinging his dick around. I'm like, this guy kind of came there like, listen, I'm Doom, almost like I'm the man in this situation, kind of like it was very disrespectful. It was kind of like
that's Doom.
But that's what I mean. It was to be expected, but he kind of like dismissed her like right away, like, woman, like you're not gonna be Sorcerer Supreme. Get out of here. You think that you're just gonna get it because he was your husband? He's like, what is this? Yeah. I was like, he's like, get out of here. This is bullshit, right? He's like, I'm not gonna let that happen. And yeah, she took care of him quick. She fucking put him in his place, and he kind of was like, all right, I'm not done with you then. Yeah, I won't forget this, and then he because
I'm sure there's gonna be a showdown between them down the road sooner or later.
I would love it. I'm here for it all day. I love Doom, so that was a great moment with Doom. Yeah, speaking of him, here's the scenes here. I won't spoil the ending on this one either, but if you guys have any familiarity with 90s Thor, looks like somebody may have been resurrected from that period. So I'll just say that by the end of this issue, because there's this dude that's called he's like a Grim Reaper type character. What's his name? Harvest Man.
Yeah.
Right here, who's like a new character. I'm not familiar with him. He might be new. Maybe he's a villain of Doctor Strange's from the comics I'm not familiar with from back in the day. Anyways, seems like he brought somebody back at the end of this issue to go off against Clea. But the main thing about this issue, though, and I want to see if I can find a page, I'll tell you right now, is the artist had some wonky ass faces in some of these.
Yeah.
And they are not good. They are not good at facial features. It seems like,
well, especially with this character. Like this is another one of the characters that were, if the art was, I guess, more detailed, or just even if it was stylized in a different form, or I don't know what. But this one left me wanting.
Marcelo Ferreira is the artist, who I'm not familiar with, at least the penciler, and then he had an inker on this as well. But I was not impressed. Here's the thing: some pages look great. Like the pages that
like those Doom stuff, everything looked good there.
But then whenever he did like a zoom in on a panel of somebody's face, like Wong looks fucking ridiculous. Like he's more like I get it. He's got like a 5 o'clock shadow because he just came back from drinking all night, apparently at the bar without a name or whatever it's called. And but it just there's other pages where you see his face, and I'm like, I don't care if he's hungover or what. I'm like, this does not look like Wong. Like I'm like, this is a bad Wong face.
Yeah, like that's for like you see like Image Comics and stuff like that, whenever there's like a close-up of face, they put the time and effort to get a nice portrait in there, not like some freaking half-ass thing from the 70s or
Yeah, no, there's some bad facial feature stuff going on here. Like, yeah, I don't think the artist is very good at expressions and faces, and
rather than just being rushed again, who knows?
Maybe, but then the action scenes look really good. So I'm kind of in between with the art, honestly. But here's the thing. I'll say this. They've quickly established that she's not Doctor Strange. Like she's way more vengeful than Doctor Strange.
She's a bit of a badass.
Yeah, she's, she has a lot of anger in her. Clearly, she says that I guess she has demons, or she was raised by demons or something like that.
Yeah, like her Uncle Dormammu or something. And
yeah, so again,
born on Battle World or.
So she's rough. She's rough and tough. This one. She's not. She's gonna be a very different Sorcerer Supreme, I think, because even Wong, it seems like he's not trying to work her up in parts of this, but she seems very angry, even because of maybe her and then she quickly gets to trying to resurrect Doctor Strange. Like she wastes no time in that sense. So it's not like
Yeah.
they're trying to avoid that whole plot line. Yeah, your ex-lover and wife like would actually try to get you back. You know what I mean? So it makes sense. It's not like they tried to steer away from that, like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
her book. We're not even gonna focus on Doctor Strange. No, she's trying to bring her back and bring him back right away. It may not be
Yeah,
successful.
like that seems the focus of this arc or of the series, basically. But who
Yeah.
knows?
Yeah, who knows how long it'll go on, but yeah, I dug it. I think it wasn't amazing. It wasn't 5 like Dark Knights of Steel, but I gave it a 4. I thought it was a solid
Yeah,
start.
same thing. I was going to give it a 4. It was more than I thought it was, and I don't know. See what kind of week it comes out on again, but I'd probably pick up the next issue.
I'm gonna continue with it. I'm a big Doctor Strange fan, so yeah, I dug it. Yeah, the art was the thing that probably bothered me the most, but other than that, I thought it was pretty solid. So, all right, Chris,
All right.
War for Earth 3, number 1.
We got War for Earth 3, number 1. Let's see what I wrote about this one here. So, in Earth, I guess Amanda Waller's in Earth 3. I don't know why they have freaking Nightwing on the cover. I don't even think I saw him in the whole issue. Maybe I missed them. There's a lot of heroes going on in here, and the superheroes on Earth 3. I don't know if that's a big deal or not, but they're a bit of jackasses there. They're kind of evil. They're overlords, let's say, and there's a love triangle in here between Superman, or he's Ultraman here,
Yeah.
Batman, and he's the Owl,
Yep.
and Wonder Woman. Like, first thing, I don't know if you can see this here,
Yes.
where you got that's the Owl all tied up in
Oh,
Wonder Woman's
bondage stuff.
lot too. Yeah, like I thought, I'm just reading this. I thought maybe maybe the Owl's a good guy, she's a bad guy, she's got him all tied up. But then you go through a couple pages later, and freaking they're putting their clothes back on.
Yeah. Yeah. Post-coital.
Yeah, and then freaking Superman fucking drops in, and he's like, enough.
Does he join in? He's like, wait.
He's that's part of the love triangle there. He's a bit jealous of Batman.
Of course.
Anyway, the Amanda Waller's got a Suicide Squad over there. She's into Earth 3. And let's see what's she recruits them to fight Flag and his Suicide Squad on Earth 0, I guess. And it's a one of 2. I think this continues in Suicide Squad, so I might try and find that issue because it's a good story. Great art in here. And it's always nice seeing the superheroes all sort of turned around. I didn't know what to expect in there. When I read the solicitations, it's like the Teen Titans and all this stuff going in. So I thought I'd pick it up, and I was pleasantly surprised. I give that a 4 too. Yeah, I thought it was a good issue.
That's always good when you're not expecting something to be that enjoyable. That's good, man.
Yeah.
All right.
And what I got next? Captain America, Iron Man. Once again, I think I'm only reading this series just because of these stupid Alex Ross covers. And this one's okay. There's a big plot twist in this issue, and it'd be more impressive if this story was a weightier story, or if it was like a more, had more substance to it. And in this one, Cap has to get back into the Hydra armor for whatever reason. I think all these, whatever robots are coming in, and then Iron Man's got to take off, and he goes, "Well, you got to get in that armor if you want to survive this." He's like, "Oh, fuck!" And he gets into it and he kicks ass in it, but he's not happy about it.
That's funny.
It's good to see.
This will get me canceled nowadays.
Yeah.
Putting on the armor.
And it's it's not a fun story in here.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of the politicking going on because I think a helicarrier has been taken over by an overseer, or like some AI intelligence. And then a lot of the thing is Tony Stark talking to a senator and kind of just, oh, I got you this, I know you do this, and blah, blah, blah. But, it's a good read. But once again, I think that like the Paladins or whatever, they're a bunch of B-list characters that nobody cares about. So it's not such a big deal. One more issue to go and I'll follow it through. Mm-hmm. It's a decent story. I give this a 3.5.
Okay.
Just because I don't really care about those Paladin characters.
Right. All right. Next up, crossover number 12. All right, guys. So I am going to spoil this one for you guys. So if you don't want to hear what I'm going to say about this issue, then skip ahead to the next book.
I want to hear it. I want to hear it.
You do want to hear it? Okay.
I do.
Okay. So, yes, in this issue, the reveal at the end of the last one was that Negan from The Walking Dead shows up in crossover. Now, at the start of this issue, Negan goes to Robert Kirkman's house and they have a little conversation with one another. And it's one of those great like meta type moments where like somebody, the creator and the creation get to actually talk to one another.
Yeah.
And he talks about, and I don't know if it's, yeah, so Robert Kirkman is actually the one that wrote these pages. So I guess Donny Cates plotted this out, and the scenes that had Robert Kirkman talking to his own creation, he wrote. It says here in the front. I was about to praise Donny Cates because I'm like, he actually sounded like Robert Kirkman, but no, it was Kirkman, and that's always pretty cool too to get a writer on board doing this kind of thing too. And he kind of gets into what he was going through in his life between his professional life, and these are things I've actually heard him talk about in podcasts, like in interviews and stuff like that. So it kind of all rang true, and the fact now knowing that he actually wrote it, yeah, it was pretty awesome. And he's getting into it, how he was going, he kind of wrote this book because he wanted, it was his first big success. He kind of was following that part of it, and like how the character Negan swears a lot in the comics as well as in this issue because he tends to swear a lot. He's like,
Negan is.
right. So like it's a great conversation and moment between him and Negan, and he kind of talks about like dark periods of his life and how he channeled it into some of the characters, and how like it allowed him to do all these other things, and he wrote other books during that time because it was a slog to get through a book like The Walking Dead that was all doom and gloom at times. And he's like, yeah. And then they respected me over at Marvel more when I started this book, because at that point he was still working for Marvel somewhat before he went over Image. And this is, again, some things I knew and some other stuff where he was kind of a little bit more personal about it. So yeah, it was just a great moment between him and Negan. And then for a second there, because he's like, he came to kill him, you think he's going to possibly let him off the hook. And I'm like, oh, don't fucking do that, man. I'm like, don't give us that shit. Don't, like, because you find out that he's responsible, they're saying now, for he was the guy that's been tracking down all these comic book creators and killing them ever since he got into their world. So then it gets to a point where Negan looks like he's going to maybe let him off the hook. And no, he does not. So that's the scene I want to show you here.
Nice.
Kills the shit out of him, and it is an awesome scene. And at the end of it, he says, "That was for you making me kill Glenn." And I'm like, what does he say? Yeah, that's for what you fucking made me do to Glenn, you prick. He says. I'm like, that's awesome. I was like, that's the best thing he could have said at the end of it. And I'm so glad he didn't pull back. And knowing that it was Kirkman himself that orchestrated this now, I'm so happy. Like, I was just like, that's great. I love when people, they're not afraid to do that kind of stuff, make fun of themselves. And then Cates shows up in this, because Cates was in the last issue too, actually, but he had that Alan Moore beard still in this, and then he got rid of it at one point in the comic, and he shaves, and again, he's being kind of like making fun of his hacky writing as well. He's like, every once in a while I write something good though. And he's actually fun of himself. And all of a sudden he shaves the beard and he looks like Donny Cates looks like in real life now. And he's like, yeah, I shaved that Alan Moore look. No one really understood what was going on in the comics. So here I am. I look like myself. And I was just like, again, it's just cool seeing comic book writers, so meta, like talking about themselves, writing themselves, being part of the story, having the characters part of the story. So it's just a lot of fun, guys. And I had to give this issue a 5 as well, because like that Negan moment alone, I was like, that's great. So if you're a fan of The Walking Dead, if you're a fan of comics, if you're a fan of comic book creators, this is a great book that you should be following. Crossover through Image Comics. Honestly, guys, check it out, because if you're not, it's definitely should be on your list. It's a great book, and it's probably the best thing Donny Cates is doing right now. I don't know how, I think you have to be really invested in the comic book business though to get the most out of it. Like, you got to have appreciation for the creators. You got to have appreciation for their characters that are creator owned stuff. Like, you're not going to see Spider-Man swinging around this book, but you're going to see like a bunch of other characters from Image Comics, people like The Walking Dead and stuff like that in it. Some people you may recognize from other books that are out on the stands now, right? So Bendis's Powers characters that were in this issue again. Yeah, so there's some good stuff in there, guys. So yeah, great stuff. Crossover.
Nice.
And yeah, then you got Batman Killing Time. This is one of 6. This is another Tom King Batman book, another miniseries that he's doing outside of his Batman and Catwoman maxi series, which is the 12-issue one that he's doing. David Marquez on art. This is a really good issue to come out this week, I think, with the Batman movie as well. This was basically like a bank heist story, and the 4 main players in this are Catwoman, the Riddler, Killer Croc, and and Penguin. And they've orchestrated this plan that you get to basically see unfold throughout this story. And then, the pacing is very unique. Tom King does his usual kind of like unique way to kind of write the story, where each panel, like every few panels, they're saying what time it is and what's occurring at this moment in time. And some of them are at one bank and some of them are at another bank, and basically it's like a bank heist story where they've set Batman up to be distracted by one scenario. Meanwhile, they're in a whole other bank stealing money out of a safety deposit stealing something out of a safety deposit box. We don't really know what it is. They never tell us. It's like one of those like Marcellus Wallace, like, briefcase Pulp Fiction thing where he opens up
MacGuffin.
yeah, well, he opens up the safety deposit box and they like look at something, but they never tell you what it is. And I'm sure by the end of this, it might be some sort of ancient artifact of some sort they hint at, because they show some sort of like stuff from like the BC era at one point, like a flashback of some sort, but you don't really know what the connection is there at this point. So yeah, basically that's kind of where we're at with this first issue. But I mean, if you like heist movies, I thought the tone of this was like really well done. Like if you watch any of like the like the Ocean's 11 type stuff, it felt like that, but they're actually getting one up on Batman for once. These 4 people have actually put this plan together and they successfully stole whatever it is in this first issue. And I guess throughout the subsequent issues, we're going to see how that really plays out moving forward. And David Arquez is a beast on artwork. He's really, really good. So yeah, it was a great first issue. I gave it a 4. It was a solid start. Looking forward to the rest. Definitely a different tone than the other Batman stuff that Tom King has done. And yeah, I think it was kind of like a cool Batman book in that sense. And I think it really gels well with the more recent release of the film in tone. So if you like the movie, I would suggest checking this out, because I'm sure that's why they kind of tried to time the release of this. They even actually reference the date of this occurrence in the book is March 4th, when the new Batman film is out in theaters. I'm like, well, that's on purpose. I'm like, come on. That's on purpose, right? So yeah, Batman Killing Time, I give it a 4. Really great first issue.
Nice.
All right. Fantastic Four. 41. All right, Chris.
That Reckoning War.
Why don't you let us know what you thought of this one?
I thought it was decent. I didn't write any notes. One of the last comics I read, I think, on the first night, and I just forgot to write. I couldn't find my pen or something. But there's some big stuff going on in here. I thought it's decent. I'm not sure, like, what's with Johnny Blaze? Where did he go? Some other world there? And
yeah,
wasn't he like flying around there?
So yeah, something that happened in the series prior to you reading it was he had a lover from another planet that they visited. And for a little while, they have these things, these bands that these people wear on this planet where she's from, that basically means they're soulmates. And they couldn't actually separate from one another. Like it was some sort of weird situation like that. Anyways, they ended up becoming on the outs with one another because, Johnny's a man whore, and he went off and, banged somebody else. He banged Doom's Herald or whatever her name was, some woman that worked for Doom. And yeah, there was like a little, thing going on between them. And then there was a Doom wedding issue. There's some great stuff that came in this previous to you starting to read it. Anyways,
yeah.
Long story short, she turned into some sort of hideous bird creature, and that's why she looks like a bird creature in this. And she had him to blame for that. And then she went back to her planet, and now she has a new soulmate, which he references in here. He's like, "Oh, this guy's soulmate now." And so he really fucked her over bad. He did her like he left her in a bad way, the relationship. Like and then it was kind of karma what happened with him from Doom, making him into this uncontrollable fire, like he can't control the heat anymore, or the flame, or the ferocity of this fire anymore that he is. So it's kind of like they both got messed up from whatever occurred between those two, right? From, I guess, Doom. So yeah, and so now she's like forever like this bird creature, it seems like, and that's kind of what was going on in that scene with those two.
Yeah, and there's other stuff going on there with where are they on the moon, or where's the Ben Grimm and Reed and She-Hulk? I don't know where they're fighting.
Yeah.
Ben gets his ass fucking handed to him though.
Yeah, bad.
Yeah.
How about the ending? The ending is where it's at for me, man. That was awesome. I'm gonna talk about the ending of this one, guys. The heralds, every herald.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, every
That,
herald.
yeah, that is pretty big. I forgot about that.
Should we talk about it, or should we leave it alone? I don't know.
I don't know if anybody's following this Reckoning War or not, though. That's the thing, like, because I don't think this is like a level event. You know what I mean?
This is the best issue yet, by the way, guys. I've been down on this event so far, like leading up into this, the issues we've been talking about on the show. I've been like whatever about it. This, even though I was all in already because I read Fantastic Four, this issue was the best issue so far.
Yeah.
Many happenings in this one. By the end of this issue, all the heralds that have ever been a herald to Galactus, ever, like it came to resurrect his body.
Yeah, like they all got sort of summoned or something,
including Thor, because he was a herald at one point. The Black Silver Surfer now, because he's Black Silver Surfer currently, like he came, who was a herald at one point, obviously Galactus. And they resurrect his body, and then they're in Asgard when this happens, and then the Destroyer, what's his name?
I think it's the Destroyer.
The Destroyer, like, you know, that big metal. He was in the first Thor movie. If you're not familiar, that big metal, like kind of armored creature that like lives on Asgard, like it's in his father's war room or something. I don't know. Like he has him, like he's always a big threat. This thing, right? He comes out, emerges, and then they meld together these two, and they create this like thing called the Destruction, because he's the Devourer, Galactus. He's the Destroyer, and then they came together and became like one into this thing called the Destruction. I was like, whoa, that's crazy. Like, I was actually a really cool like moment and an idea. I was like, yeah, that's awesome. And like he knew how much of a threat these things are.
Yeah, this Reckoning is a big threat. Are they called the Reckoning, the bad guys or whatever?
The Reckoning.
It is a big threat, and like everybody's coming together to fight them, and it's some crazy stuff going on.
Yeah. Yeah, I won't show you.
It sounds like Galactus is gone, or he's out of the universe from this. Like, I didn't know if he was or not, but it sounds like he's dead.
He was before.
And bring him back to do this. That's a big thing.
Yeah, Johnny beats the shit out of Annihilus. Like, there's some big moments in this issue, man. Uatu is on trial now in the next issue. Like, he actually got in prison because like he was the only one that wanted to interfere with what's happening, and all the other Watchers were against it. So like he's outspoken on this one. So yeah, some big doings in this issue, man. Everything kind of clicked with all the moments for me in this issue, especially with that ending of the
it's good that they took everything off Earth, because this story didn't need to be on Earth. You know what I mean?
No. Well, that's why I'm like, this isn't a street level story. I'm like, get out of here with this stuff. I'm like, this is like, it should be up in space, all this stuff, right? So what'd you give this one, man? I loved it. I absolutely.
I'll give it a 4 there. I forgot about that ending. Like I said, I didn't take any notes there, but it was after a lot of reading. Easy 4.
5.
5. Whoa.
Best issue yet of Fantastic Four for the Reckoning War. Handing them out like candy here today, guys. 5.
Dude, third 5 out of 4 comics.
It was my favorite issue of the Reckoning War so far, man. It was great. Like, I was just like, yes, this is what I was wanting. I'm so much looking forward to the next issue now, man. That was a great one. So all right. Justice League 73, this very blank cover.
Yeah, for what reason, I don't know.
Didn't have enough time to draw this one.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, what bugged me in this comic was freaking Zatanna.
Oh, there was so much backwards Zatanna talk in this one.
Yeah. First, I have to figure it out. Like, I know you read the whole sentence backwards, and okay, it's each word backwards, but you read it normal. Like, I'd rather read the whole thing backwards than read one word backwards and move to the next word, go backwards. I don't know. After a lot of reading, like, I just skipped over whatever she was saying. That just really drove me up the wall there. And it's not like having that backward talk was some super effective ploy to make the story better.
Well, that's Zatanna's thing. It's a fun gimmick. I enjoy it. but they overdid it here. I totally agree with you, by the way. I don't mind when they do it here and there. I don't know why Bendis was going so crazy with it in this issue, because there was like pages and pages.
Yeah, pages of it.
Yeah, it
And
was.
all it is just like force fields up. You got to fucking write that word backwards twice. Oh,
Yeah.
killing me.
Yeah.
But and then weren't there a whole bunch of different artists in this one too? I don't like that. Like, especially when they're trying to do the same story. Like I've seen in some of the Justice League Incarnate one time, I think they had different artists.
Yeah.
And but they were on different worlds. If you were in like Earth 500, you had one type of artist, and in Earth whatever.
I hate Kodransky's art. This guy, I hate. I told you last time I read this, because you weren't reading it yet, or you had didn't read it. I hate that guy's art. I just like they should have just stuck with the new artist. But the problem is now this is an oversized issue because there's no backup. So I'm sure the Emmanuel Lupacino, this artist here, didn't have enough time to draw everything. And she's like the more preferred artist for me out of these two. I will say my favorite moments were the scenes with them at the round table in the Justice League headquarters.
Oh yeah, it looks good. Well, they're nice scenes, but freaking it looks like crap.
This scene here.
Like even this here where the Justice League is kind of bursting through. What is that, like a half panel page and freaking all stick figures? Yeah. Like that would be like a double page spread with everybody freaking all, ripped to shreds, but I don't know.
But this anyway. I dug. Like all of them hanging out in the library when they go down to because they're at the top floor where there's the Justice League headquarters, where it's like the round table here.
Oh, and they went down when they went to the basement.
Like, okay, let's go to the Justice League dark area with all the books. Let's do some research. And then they went down to the basement and they're all sitting around. I dig the Justice League dark a lot, and I like that idea of them living in the basement of like the Justice League headquarters. Yeah. These moments that Bendis excels at all the people like chopping it up with one another. That's what he's really good at, like when they're doing stuff like that. Otherwise it was pretty basic story so far, bad against good against evil.
They just have that darkness coming. They're setting up this big darkness. I don't know if that's going to be their new event, but they put a lot of time into this, I guess.
But and then apparently they're making the point of like Naomi somehow is very special to everything that's going on. Like I don't know what's going on there. What's special is I think she has a TV show on right now on TV. So.
Yeah, that's what.
And it's also Bendis's creation. Like he also created the character. So
he's pushing his own stuff.
Yeah. Anyways, but she's a fine character. I don't mind Naomi, but I think it's just like. Obviously there's reasons why they're going to make her like the one who, is going to be the character out of all these guys. Right. So,
I think they should have just waited till Justice League dies and try and get these ones beforehand.
I agree. What'd you give this one?
I give it a 3.5. If the art was better, I'd probably I didn't even give this a 3.
That
fucking backwards reading was just killing me.
That's what I'm giving it. I'm giving it a 3. Yeah.
Especially these characters so great too, like Zatanna and everybody there, having the Justice League, then having them freaking drawn in freaking like Saturday morning cartoons. No way.
Yeah. All right, man. Devil's Reign Spider-Man.
Let's see. Devil's Reign Spider-Man. It's an okay issue here. Not too sure what to make of what's up with Ben in this one here. This is all taking place before I think Spider-Man like 79 or something. So this is kind of when he was first still picked up by Beyond. And where was I? No, okay, I'm looking at the wrong freaking Spider-Man. Where the hell did I have it? Oh yeah, okay. There's a decent story. Good artist in this one. They should get this artist fucking doing Spider-Man.
Who's that?
The Rose. It's Z Carlos.
Okay, yeah.
And the Rose is plotting to kill Spider-Man here. It takes place before Spider-Man 86. Okay. And the Rose is, he's plotting to try and take over Wilson Fisk and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, it's
Kingpin. It's a good little story.
His resurrected. The Rose is his son, I believe. He came back.
Yeah, it's his son. I guess he's back. I didn't know he was dead, but
yeah,
like I guess, and he's been around for a while. This isn't like a resurrection story. He just shows up and he's there.
Yeah,
and that's a good story with Ben. It's pretty decent. It's just a one shot, I think. If I knew this week was so big and I didn't have it on the pre-order on my pull list, I would have just put it fucking back in the deck there and saved myself the $5 or whatever it is.
Yeah.
But I didn't mind it. I give this a 3.5.
Okay. Spider-Woman?
and Spider Woman. This is the anti-Arachnine are assembled in this one here, and it's an interview with the villains, with various villains to join this Arachnine or anti-Arachnine, and it's all these people that hate Spider Woman. It's more of like a fun story, let's say. It's not a very serious story in here. They bring all these people in, and they're all like having kind of interviews with the core of this team, and they're trying to put this team together to get to Spider Woman. And when they get to Jessica Drew, she's still just deciding what to do with her life. I think she ends up deciding to go to Madripoor and become a detective.
Okay.
It's a fun issue, just kind of watching all these villains either come in and then they're just telling them, get out of here, you're a bum. And so it's a fun story. I'll give that a 3.5. Still great art in here all the time. Right. It's too bad that it's good that this Perez, I don't know if I'm saying that right, that he's on this story, because I'm sure that if he wasn't on this book would be a lot worse.
Yeah.
But it's good that he's on. It's freaking awesome covers. Oh, I got, two awesome. I think a while back I freaking got this on pre-order, a Momoko one.
Oh, nice. That's a nice one.
I was talking for her, but I think I'm over her covers.
Not as good as some of the other ones that you get.
Yeah, like these ones kind of bland, but that one's decent there.
Not cheesecakey enough.
Yeah. She's not a big cheesecake. She's got a very watercolor stylized stuff, which sometimes looks good.
Yeah, exactly.
That one was pretty bland.
All right. So next up, I got Magic Order 2, number 5. Nothing new to report on this one. One issue to go. It's been a great miniseries. I'm looking forward to the show whenever that does happen, because this is Mark Miller's Netflix deal. Fantastic art, great story. They finally come to blows. The people that have been hunting down the Magic Order people in this series so far, causing shit all over the world to kind of get to them. In this issue, they finally have successfully tracked them down, and shit goes sideways. I do want to point out this particular page here. There's like a Cthulhu type monster that's storming around the city, plus a bunch of other crazy stuff that kind of happens. Like I said, it gets insane. And it's just the one guy, fighting for his right to be the heir of this title of all these magic people. He feels that this family has screwed him over for this title, and he's taking them all on. They all surround him at one point in this, and they have a way bigger group of people that are coming down on this family and attacking them. And he kind of pushes all his people back because he's like, yeah, I want to show them that I can do this. And he's single-handedly killing people on their team left and right, shooting off magic blasts and doing all kinds of stuff. And there's all this kind of crazy shit happening all over the city, and things are getting destroyed and people are in danger. So yeah, one more issue to go. I don't know how they're going to come back and take these guys out, but it doesn't look good by the end of this issue for them. So yeah, so I'll give it a 4. It was a solid issue. I think overall it's going to be a solid series, and I'll probably pick up the trade paperback of this as well when it comes out, because I just really, really love Stuart Immonen's art. He's a great artist, and it's a great looking book, as I mentioned. And then next up, we got Newburn number 4. Now, this was a comic that I've already dropped, but this is, I think, one of the last issues I may have already had pre-ordered. Maybe there's one more. And thankfully, this is not one of those situations where, I feel that, this issue was the one that saved it from getting cut on the chopping block. This was it's still bad. I did not enjoy this one. And still bad. That's pretty much the main note I took down for this one. Also, the fact that they have a backup story in this. A creator-owned title has a backup story. I'm sure because the artist couldn't pump out the pages again on time like they expected them to, because Jacob Phillips, the artist on this book, has already, I think, another book that's coming out that's coinciding with the release of this one through Image Comics. So I don't know if he banked a bunch of issues of that and then they started going over and doing this, but there's only 16 pages of story in this issue of the actual main story. Then you got a backup story that's like 5 pages with a terrible artist, a story that I don't care about whatsoever. And it's actually a really bad selling point, like in this regard. Like, this is a creator-owned comic. This isn't like your Spider-Man or something else. Like, they try to make it 20 pages by putting these journal entries like the X-Men books or something.
Yeah.
And they try to count that towards the page count, and it really does it a disservice. So I got to say, like, as much as a fan I am of Chip Zdarsky, this book just, I think I always felt it should be a lot better. It's not doing it for me. I've already dropped it. And yeah, I don't want to continue shitting on it here, but I just want to say it just wasn't for me. I gave this like a 2.5 this issue.
Ooh.
I just really, yeah, because I mean, it just didn't, at this point, I'm already in my mind, I was kind of already over it. So maybe that's an unfair kind of rating in that sense, but like this issue just didn't do it for me either. And yeah, I mean, like I said, I dropped it already. So hopefully there's no other issues that I have pre-ordered. So yeah, I just think you should use, put the book out late. If that's the case, you should use all the pages in a creator-owned comic. Like, you're not going to get like, it doesn't do you any favors that it's not a big 2 superhero comic in that sense. Like, you know what I mean? The audience for these people, the people that are checking out a book about a guy who's a detective for mob bosses, or like an intermediary of some sort, like a book like that, the only people that are going to check that out are people that are maybe into crime stuff, that don't read superhero stuff, or are fans of the creators. So give them their 20 pages or whatever that you owe them in that. Don't give us some backup story that has nothing to do with the other story with some other artist who's, quite frankly, I think terrible. I really hated the art. I'm not even going to show the art. I'm not going to mention the artist because I don't want to, you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to throw any more dirt on their names as well. But yeah, I was a little disappointed in that sense for that issue. But anyways, there you go.
All right.
Devil's Reign X-Men number 2. Yeah. Chris, what'd you think of this one?
Well, I'm not sure where the story's going in this here. And I don't know why it's like it should be Devil's Reign, White Queen, really. It's all about her. It doesn't really have anything to do with the X-Men.
Yeah.
And but what I did like was just kind of seeing what the White Queen does when she's not running around in her underwear, I guess, like, just kind of back behind all this stuff, pulling strings to save that little kid. I think it's a great cover here. And just the art in this book, like, it's not a super stylized art or anything like that. I don't want to say it's a simple art, but like, it's good though. I liked it. And it's a good vibe in there. Like, when you're saying that, whichever one we were just talking about, that Justice League or something like that, this seemed to be kind of simple, and I thought it was great though. Still, I liked it.
Yeah, I think this is another one of the examples, as you said, sometimes even though it has nothing to do with the event, like this Devil's Reign has basically been telling stories about past stories about when Elektra and the White Queen, Emma Frost, have worked for the Kingpin in the past. And I guess he used to do like, jobs for him. And yeah, like you said, the main focus is on Emma on this, but I actually really quite like this issue. I liked it a lot better than the first issue.
Yeah.
I love the Spider-Man moments.
Yeah, I was going to mention that too. That was like, and then she was touched up. Like, she was, "What's in this for you?" And then she reads his mind, and then after she's like, "Wow, good on you, buddy." Or like, even just that one line goes, "You were just a kid when this happened,"
Way, yeah, because there's a whole page spread where it shows like the death of his uncle, and it shows
she basically reads his mind about what happened.
Yeah, and it shows all the trauma that Spider-Man has already been through. I was about to say that was my favorite moment of the issue.
Yeah, and you never really think about it that way too. That what happened to Spider-Man is trauma. Everybody's reading like, "Oh, this would be great if this happened to me," but it was a bad thing that happened to him.
But that's what I mean. This was the last place I was expecting to see a moment.
Yeah, exactly. So like, and that's the first time I've ever seen it kind of played out that way. And that's great.
Then Union Jack shows up at the end of the issue. I don't know if you're familiar with Union Jack.
Yeah,
the Union, like, he's like an UK character or whatever. So that was really random.
Oh yeah, I thought that was like Captain Britain or something that popped her in the back of the head.
That's like the UK's Captain America.
Yeah.
Like Captain Britain too. Yeah, you're right. He was part of that whole, that group of people that came out of that whole wave. But yeah, he's Union Jack, showed up at the end of this, which was interesting. You never really see him anymore, so I thought that was interesting. Again, just interesting story about Emma. I really enjoyed it in that sense, and the Spider-Man scenes were my favorite. It's funny because her and Elektra are going to try to pull this mission off, and they're like, oh, there's always some rube swinging around New York, whatever.
Yeah.
Spider-Man
eating a burger.
And then like when he goes and like he goes in his mind and like gets him to come there because she's like does a scream in his head and he thinks someone's in danger. So when he flies in through the window and he's like, I hear someone screaming, he's like, hey, listen, buddy. He's about to fight the guy. He's like, I just got rid of a cheeseburger for this, so it better be worth it.
Yeah, that was good. I was not expecting just to have Spider-Man in there too, and a good portrayal of him too. Like
I gave it a 4 based on the Spider-Man moments, to be honest with you.
I think I'm going to have to join you with that one. I did like it. I like this one a lot better than the first one.
Same.
I still don't know how this is fitting in with the Devil's Reign and all that, but it's good stories nonetheless.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, next up we got Daredevil Woman Without Fear. So Chris, take it away because I have a lot of thoughts about the ending of this comic. All right, I have a lot of thoughts about a couple of things about this comic. It has nothing to do with the story itself.
Yeah, it has nothing to do with the story, but there's fucking a lot to unpack in this issue.
There is.
I don't know if did they not know what time this issue was coming out or something? Or
to Chris's point, he hit on one of my things I was going to mention. Yeah, they spoil something that's coming out in next week's issue of Devil's Reign 5 in this issue.
It's something big.
Yeah.
Unless it's not big, and I don't know.
I could be.
I like the.
It could be like a psych out, and maybe that's why they did it, because Zdarsky's writing both these books, so it's not like you can even blame another writer. Maybe Marvel screwed up.
I don't know if you want to say it what it is, but
they say Daredevil got killed in the next issue of Devil's Reign.
They say Matt Murdock is dead.
Yes, which could
be real. But it could be his brother.
So you know what?
His brother he's running around as Matt Murdock, and maybe the Kingpin might not know.
Or hold on a second. By the end of Devil's Reign, his brother takes the mantle of Daredevil, his twin, right? Maybe?
Yeah, but his brother has no power.
I don't know. Maybe
he's gonna walk around in the costume and take pictures. Maybe that's the end game of Devil's Reign.
Yeah,
because that his unsuperpowered brother is gonna take over his life.
Anyway, so that's what they hit at the end of this for the next week's issue of Devil's Reign. And then at the end of this issue, which was kind of pretty cool because there is a relation to the in this.
It makes sense why he shows up in the end.
Yeah, why don't you go ahead?
I did like the fight with Kraven though too. I thought that was decent.
Yeah. You get the
I like the issue.
You get the tease at the end. We can talk about it. It comes out
next week. It was written in every blog or every.
The Punisher shows up. This because there was that woman from the Hand from Elektra's past that's been following her around this whole miniseries, but then by the end of it, you get a sneak peek of them at the Hand, and she's introduced. She was kind of like, I don't know why you're bothering with Elektra. Like, this is her man now. And the first appearance of this could be a speculator issue. I don't know.
That's another thing. I don't know why they blow the first appearance of Punisher
in this
with the new logo in this.
And
not that this is bad, but.
No,
this really has nothing to do with Punisher. I don't know why they throw it in there.
The only thing, but that's what I mean. There was a lot of weird things that happened.
Yeah, a lot of weird, and to say Daredevil died in there, if you didn't say that, it wouldn't change the story one bit. It was almost like a blurb. Was that Foggy or whatever? It goes, you don't know, Matt's dead.
They must have purposely put it out ahead of time.
It's got to be a swerve.
I think so, because you got to remember too, Punisher also comes out next week. So they knew that this was going to be.
They wouldn't have to.
Yeah, something's going on. I guess we'll find out next week, guys. But that's really, to be honest, the most interesting things that happened in this issue. For whatever, the other story was fine. It was just okay, whatever. Whatever. She beat Kraven, and
that's all decent, whatever. But it wasn't the story that made this issue special. It's holy shit, all this stuff that's kind of just that little star at the bottom. Oh, see Devil's Reign 5. Are you fucking serious?
Yeah,
that's the most interesting part of this book.
Because at first I'm like, did I miss something? I'm like, no, it's out next week. And I looked it up.
I'm like, fuck. I thought I had the new Devil's Reign.
Yeah,
it's fuck. I did have to look up too. I think they only make us wait a week, not freaking 3 weeks or a month or something.
True. That's true. What'd you give this?
Well, fuck, I don't know. It's hard to say. If it was just a regular story, I'd give it a 3.5, but everything that went on there, that's like a 4.5 or a 4.
I think I'm still gonna give it a 3.5 because I'm basing it on that stuff. Those other things for me, like I'm more excited, looking forward to Punisher #1. I don't think it added anything to the story in this particular.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna stick
But
with
just being there, it's like, wow.
I hear you. I hear you. I could almost maybe bump it to the 4 based on that, but I'm gonna give it a 3.5 because
Yeah.
this story was
Like when I was reading those tiles or whatever, like Bleeding Cool or whatever those websites are, I'm just glad that Punisher was showing up in an issue I was already buying. Like, it's not like I had to go fucking search out another issue to get this picture there of something that really is useless.
I mean, listen, I'm not big on speculation here in the comic hobby, guys, for this show, but this one could be considered the first appearance of that Punisher. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
That's
Well, I'm not a speculator. I didn't go and buy 10 copies, but I always like to have at least a copy when something
of course.
good happens, you
Of
know?
course, and I love the Punisher. So if this becomes his new image for the time being or moving forward, it's pretty cool that we got the issue somehow. Like,
Yeah, and it's the first time I've seen him since I started collecting because he's been sort of on the outs there because of his stupid skull from before.
Yeah. All right, Chris. Next up.
Okay, what do we got here? Avengers Forever, #3. Woo! This one's a good one here. A lot of twists and turns in this story.
I gotta read this.
Yeah, you got to read this one. You got Vision. You got a female Moon Knight here. There's a Wonder Man, an Infinity thing. I don't know what that means, but there's a thing in here, and he's like lit up like the Infinity Stones.
That's cool.
He doesn't do much. All he says is like one line over and over again. And let's see. So they're all out to battle the Black Skull in here, and they're trying to save Johnny Blaze or whoever the Ghost Rider is. Oh no, Robbie Reyes. That's a Ghost Rider.
Yep.
And they go and do their battles, do other things, and surprise, surprise, they beat the Black Skull in this one here. But only to fucking realize something that's even worse. And one of the lines in the book is, when one skull falls, 1,000 shall replace them. And that's how it's like, wow.
That's like a Hydra.
It just goes in again, like you think, okay, they're getting ahead, and they just get freaking knocked down a million places. But it's good seeing all these other characters here in this, I don't know which Earth they're in, but they're in some other Earth.
Right.
And I give this, I guess 4.
Yeah, I gotta catch up and read this with you. It seems like it's pretty solid. Every time you're kind of like, yeah.
But the Venoms are fused with everybody, or the symbiotes are all out there. Because in the back end, there's a Hydra, whatever, Black Skull. There's a Black Skull with there's like 5 or 6 skulls, I guess. I don't want to call them Black Skulls, like red skulls, I guess.
Yeah.
All kind of standing in a page there, and you got all different types. There's like a Carnage skull. That's crazy. But anyways. And what do we got next here? Noctera? Yeah. So it's the new comic I just picked up. I think it might be the 3rd issue I've read. So I'm still not familiar with what's going on, but some big things go on in this issue too. Like, I think up until now, Blacktop Bill has been like one of the big bads in this. And he's done some bad things. Even in this issue here, he starts out trying to, he's knocking on some safe refuge town, being chased by the dark or whatever is chasing these people, and they let him in, and he goes in there and he just fucking goes to town inside there and kills all the humans.
Yeah.
And then his plan is to try and talk to God, so he needs all this electricity. He ends up finding out what he wants to find out, and it's a bit of a turn on him, and he finds out whatever evil has taken over the earth is like some black hole that's trying to suck up all life. So he's got to switch sides, I think. And he's got to enjoy, or he's joining the Sundog convoy. If you read the comic, you know what that means.
Yeah.
If you don't, then it's been spoiled, I guess.
Don't worry, it's not the trucker convoy.
Yeah, don't worry. They're not on their way to Ottawa or Queens Park.
Yeah, that's not what they're doing here.
That's it. Oh, the noise. But anyways.
What'd you give this one, man?
I'll give this a 4. Like I say, it's another good comic.
I read the first trade and I quite enjoyed it. And I think the art's really good in the book too, actually. So yeah.
Yeah, art's top notch in there. like I said, I'm just not too familiar with the story, but yeah, I kind of got the gist of it.
Sure.
But that Black Top, he sounds like he was a bad guy doing a lot of bad things before, and for him to have to turn around
Yeah.
and switch sides just for the people in that convoy to even try and accept them, like I don't know if they will or not,
Right.
but we'll see where it goes from there. Like this is what I was thinking of dropping, just because I can't have a fucking list of 20 comics every week.
Sure.
But I still might have to buy the next one on top of this.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And what do we got? Justice League Incarnate 5. This was one I was kind of looking forward to read too, because it's 5 of 5. It's a bit of a letdown. I think this is just setting up all the events of the great darkness that's coming. I don't know if that's the big story for the next I don't know, Mar or DC Crisis event. I don't know.
Right.
And I got Darkseid in here crying about his wife or something like that too. It's kind of crazy. But I don't know, it was a good read. I like the care. Like when I think back to the whole series, I like seeing the demon Etegran in there, like all this sort of crazy stuff that was going on, Etrigan.
Yeah.
And Captain Carrot and
Yeah.
all these people that I haven't read. So it was good that way. But
Okay.
it'd be better if this was its own self-contained story that ended, not just this. Like I feel bad that I read all this and it's just a setup for something else.
Mhm.
I'll give that a 3.5.
Welcome to Event Comics. Welcome to
Yeah, like
comics. Everything folds into something else.
yeah,
All right, what do we got next?
killing me.
Batman 121. All right. You want to go on this, or do you want me to go on this one?
Well, you want to start out? I
This,
know, yeah, I didn't write much about this, but I
this,
kind of got a lot to say.
this was disappointing.
Yeah,
I get that Chip Zdarsky was announced as the new writer, and they got to wrap this up in a couple of issues, but like this was a huge letdown. Like the whole story that they had set up with this Luther thing just was very
it was pretty decent, I thought, up until this.
there. Yeah, and then
Like this cover was looking good. I'm like, I couldn't wait for this issue almost.
it
Like,
was,
I wanted to see what was happening.
they really hit the brakes and unraveled everything about this story in one issue. And not only that, not even in a satisfying way. Like it was so
Yeah,
predictable, like in a lame
like,
ass way. They're like, "Oh, we were tricking you the whole time."
yeah,
Batman Inc. They're like pulling their punches while fighting. Of course, we know how we all fight. I'm like, yeah, okay. Like it's that's what annoyed me about it was like the reveal was so obvious that like I could have guessed that myself at any point in time, and given like the result, like the way this story was unfolding.
it's such a baloney reveal. Like, they go into the effort of like those whole couple issues that everything is against them. Batman doesn't know what's going on. He feels bad that he's left. He let that Batman in kind of just on their own. He's got no money.
Yeah.
But all of a sudden, I knew all along what I was doing. What was that code he calls in there? Code Hero Time or something? That was bad. Like, when you're talking about that killing time and, like everything's all working, there's all this stuff going on. And then what if at the end of that killing time, Batman says, "Oh, I let you do all that stuff because that was all part of my plan." It's like, come on, really?
Yeah.
And I thought it was a good story up until then. Batman's blind. That the Batman Inc. turned on him. You got Luther there. It started out with that good scene with Luther and Batman talking.
Yeah.
And then, like, well, you're just going to let him go? Oh, yeah, well, don't worry. Him losing is enough of punishment. Come on.
Like I get this was a filler story in between the new creative team. Like I predicted that right when they started this story, but Chris is right. I mean, I know Chris was digging this story a little bit more than I was the whole time, I think throughout, but this was a real letdown, like as a wrap up issue. And it seems, I think they still have one more issue to go before the actual start of it. And then on top of that, Joshua Williamson, the writer of this, who's also doing the Deathstroke book, tries to tie all this, the epilogue, into the whole upcoming Deathstroke thing you're reading, right? With the Shadow that's actually going to happen.
The Shadow War or whatever.
Which, okay, yeah, it's great for you if you're reading it. So I guess that's what the next issue is going to be, actually, between this and the new Zdarsky thing. I think it's going to be the tie-in issue to the Shadow War.
Yeah, I'm not looking forward to it now.
Yeah, it was just a huge letdown. I'm glad you agreed, because for me, I was just like, really? I was just like, you know what I mean? Like, oh, we knew what was going on the whole time.
Yeah.
Like, this is such a corny kind of move to do that, man. Like, I get it. He's Batman. You're Batman Inc. You thought of everything. Like,
yeah.
it makes sense. Like it all tracks, but I'm like the fact that that's actually the reasoning and the wrap up of the story. I was like, come on now, it's so corny,
Yeah.
so corny. Anyway, so yeah, I don't know. Would you give this?
Yeah, I give it a 3.5. I didn't enjoy this.
I gave it a 3, man. Yeah, I liked it even less in that sense. Yeah. Anyways, all right. Next up, we got X-Men number 9. You know, I don't know about you. I also don't got too much to say on this one myself.
I
Modoc.
thought this was. Oh, go on. Sorry.
I was just gonna say Modoc's working with Orcus. That's one of the main takeaways
Yeah.
from now. Like the people that are him and Nimrod as part of Orcus now, which doesn't play out well for the mutants because those are the people that are supposed to be taking them out in the future in one of the timelines that we've seen from Moira before, right? So yeah, that's my main that was the main story beat for me in this. And then, you know, there's the whole Racco Mars stuff going on, which
Yeah.
I feel if you're not reading those books, like I don't know what the hell's going on. I'm just like, okay, yeah.
Yeah, like with what I was thinking, with all these X-Men books they got going on, can't they just keep fucking one story in one book? Like, what do you got to put leave that for X-Men Red or whatever they're going to call it?
Yeah.
Like, you know, because I did like the stuff there. I liked the beginning. I thought it was interesting, you know, with the first few pages were decent. And then they would go over to that, like, I don't even know what this Araco stuff is. Like, are they a people? Is that just the name of the place? Or
Oh, there are people. So they were on
were they on Mars before or something?
no. So they were on Krakoa. They were on another part of Krakoa, and that tree there at the end is like the other island of that was by Krakoa. That Krakoa was like banging, like the islands are sentient and they were like banging each other. So they're an ancient civilization of other mutants that the Araco people, and they basically terraformed Mars. So they actually have their own place for them. But Storm basically became the leader of them up there as a representation of Krakoa on Mars along with the Racco people, as far as I know, but I'm not reading.
Yeah, like maybe I thought the mutants went to Mars to kind of make their own, like, you know, like asteroid M or have their own safe planet. And then they're fighting with people already. And it's their own people. But anyways, I'm not too big on what's going on Mars. But the other stuff that's going on in the other X-Men, I guess, I thought that was pretty decent.
Yeah, but to your point though, I think that this book has been the oddball book of the X-Men books right now, in the sense that it is the main title of the X-Men team right now. But I think all the other stuff that's been happening in this book prior to this issue really hasn't been focusing on a lot of the other stuff. Like it's actually been interesting stuff, like the Captain Krakoa thing, which was weird.
Yeah.
The MODOK showing up last year, like it has been an oddball, like, you know what I mean, like book in terms of all the X-Men line. And that
I did like Destiny with Gambit.
Yeah.
Those are like I've never seen, like, Destiny's always freaking, you know, all serious and just, you know, precogging stuff, and then there she's just freaking giving Gambit shit all the time.
Yeah, she hates him. She hates that.
Yeah, you know, and even just like you say, give her the I want to kill you. It's like, I thought you're Destiny. You're supposed to be like, you know, just all I see is the future and you know, this and that. And she's like, oh, I hate you.
Hate you, yeah. I thought that was funny because she hates Gambit. You know, who doesn't hate Gambit? I
guess so, yeah.
I mean, listen, I mean, if you're a fan of the 90s cartoon, then I understand if you like Gambit, but otherwise, he's kind of lame at times, in my opinion. Like, it's just like, yeah, whatever.
But I thought it was fun, that scene there. Like, I don't know what that has to do with anything, but just seeing Rogue and Gambit there and Destiny all interacting, I thought that was good.
Yeah. What'd you give this one?
But I still give it a 3.5. It wasn't great.
Same. No, I agree. I give it 3.5 as well. Yeah. All right. And down to our last couple of books here. She-Hulk #2. I actually read this digitally, so I don't have a copy of that. Ooh, look at that cover.
One of the X-Men covers.
Focus on that. That's a nice cover.
That's it. Not too bad.
Yeah. So what did you think about this, Chris?
I thought it was okay. It was a lot of the Jack of Hearts stuff. You figure out what's going on here. And once again, with the art in here too. Once again, I think this seemed to be a bit more of a simple art, but it was good though. Like when they put a face, you know, it's decent. I liked it. You know, even just seeing that, I'm not too familiar with Jack of Hearts, but it seems like he either lost his powers or, you know, him being thirsty and wanting to eat all the time, and all that stuff where he's like sucking the gamma radiation out of She-Hulk there before. So I'll see where it goes.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was enjoyable. It's again
it was like a fun issue, like nothing serious, nothing big happened in there.
Yeah, similar to the first issue, it was like an enjoyable, quick, easy read, like easy to read, kind of like and as Chris said, the main focus on this one was kind of where Jack of Hearts has been this whole time. And I don't have a big history with that character either. I don't really know too much about him. So for me, it was interesting in that sense, but like I will say there's not a lot of meat to this comic. Like there's not a lot to kind of hold, like, but it's not a bad comic. Like it's good. It's good and enjoyable and always like a fun, easy read. But compared to everything else, like compared to like, let's say like the Dark Knights of Steel, I get it. It's 5 issues into a 12 issue epic kind of like maxi series. Everything is in that issue. Like every more that you could ask for. This was like the issue was over before you knew it, and like really you had like 2 conversations that occurred in the book and you're like, oh, okay, like so
like, for this book you gotta like She-Hulk. If you don't like She-Hulk, don't read this book.
I don't want to make it sound like I didn't like it. I'm actually enjoying it. It just doesn't
for a She-Hulk fan, like there's nothing going on that's like she's not battling freaking aliens in here or anything.
So it's
like it was just like a day in her life. She goes back to the office and she's She-Hulk again, and who knows, maybe they're playing into something later on.
So I guess we'll see what happens. So I don't know, I gave it a 3.5.
So we gotta stop. I think we've been on the same page for almost all of
we have
the point, but 3.5. Really, to be honest, if it didn't have this X cover, I don't know if I would have bought it or not. Anyways, while I have the X covers here, this is one that I also bought, this Black Panther 4. I didn't read it yet, but it's another one of the X-Gwen covers where she does a Phoenix. I think this one's pretty awesome.
Have you successfully got them all at this point? Have you ordered?
No, there was a ton that I didn't even know came out.
Oh, wow.
Like there's one for Thor. Like, because when I started to try and get them all,
you were late.
I thought I was on a website, or I thought I saw a web page that had they had like 9 or 10 of them listed.
Yeah.
And I go, okay, well, I wanted like 5 or 6 of them to begin with. I go, I'll just get the other 4, and then I'll have them all, and that's decent. And I already missed the first one. I think it was an Amazing Spider-Man had one I missed. And then as time has been going on, I go, oh, this one had one, this one had one. There's been a freaking shit ton of them out there.
Yeah.
But I still got some ones I like. So I got like maybe 5 or 6 so far. It might be a couple more coming.
Yeah, there's some nice ones. All right. And Amazing Spider-Man 91, the book that we normally end out on. Only 2 more issues, I think, in the Beyond era. And then finally, we're going to get back a relaunch of Amazing Spider-Man. I hate to end on this one, but this for me was another letdown, this issue.
Not too bad. You know what I'm thinking of? We're like this is talking about the Spider-Man #1, that scene where he's standing in a hole. He might be on this island. He might blow this fucking island up.
Yeah. You think so?
Because in the picture there, he's holding that little friggin' spider phone or something.
Maybe you're onto something here, yeah.
Because there's stuff going on in here. Like, where is it? I don't know. Because I think Ben has a little phone like that he throws out into the void when he takes off somewhere.
Okay.
And it looks similar to the one that Spider-Man was holding.
Yeah.
In the, in those all, I can't find it now. Yeah, but the big reveal at the end of this one, it's not I don't know, it wasn't a big reveal.
I mean, it was neat in the sense that they revisited the fact that they have all these weird experiments that are going on at Beyond.
Yeah.
Like they had referenced that in that Doc Ock issue that me and Chris had talked about. There was like that sandwich, like whatever, like the talking.
Yeah, the talking sandwich.
So like,
I think we didn't talk about that.
We did.
I think we talked about it after. Like, how do we not talk about that freaking talking sandwich?
So we didn't talk about it on the show, but apparently there was like a bunch of weird experiments and things that kind of come to realize, like, see them all in this issue. And there's like a bunch of weird things that are in this Beyond warehouse that him and Ben kind of infiltrate. But I mean, and Ben's really messed up still. He's tripping out the whole issue. He's kind of useless issue because he's messed up in the head so much, and Spider-Man's trying to get him to cooperate with him, and he's having a hard time. And since Peter Parker isn't at 100%, he's kind of depending on him quite a bit in this issue, and he's kind of letting him down in that sense. But he's going through his own kind of issues right now, Ben Riley. So that there's that whole thing. But other than that, I mean, it was okay. I really didn't like Colleen Wing, like the Daughters of the Dragon and Misty when they showed up in this. They suck. I mean, like
Yeah.
Kelly Thompson wrote this issue, and she usually writes really good dialogue. But when they showed up, I'm just like, these people aren't written well. Like they really added nothing to the scenes. I felt like they were contributing to, like, where they're trying to fight these things with them. So like for me, it was a pretty weak issue, to be honest. I thought it was just like I'm sick of this Beyond stuff now. I'm kind of over it now. Like 2 issues ago, I hope they just kind of get to this resolution. And it's
well, that's 2 issues ago. And, you know, I like the build up to this Door Z that they're talking about all this. Oh, don't open Door Z. And he goes, oh, screw you. I'm going to open Door Z. He's like, no, don't. And then when they have the reveal of what happens in Door Z once it opens, like, you know, you thought it's like some world-ending event if that door opens, but it really wasn't all that much.
No. I don't know. Yeah.
I like the art in it, though. I think the art was good for this one.
The art was good. Yeah, the art was good. Yeah.
They got to put the good story and the good art together.
Yeah.
But then if they had the bad art and the bad story, well, we saw what happened with that one there. So maybe it's good that they kept the good artist with a kind of a not so great story.
I like the creative team. Sarah Pichelli was one of the artists on this book. I like Sarah Pichelli. I also like the writer on this, Kelly Thompson, but unfortunately, because of the way that this book works, they kind of leave the next writer up in line with the story that's kind of like there. And I don't think sometimes it's always to their strengths. Like I thought this would have been a lot funnier and a lot more better dialogue, knowing that it was written by Kelly Thompson. But I think just because of where he's at in the story in this, she didn't really get to build up these scenes or these characters all too much.
Like I know they're fighting that chicken or something. Like, were those things alive?
Yeah.
They didn't really see them move, but I guess they were.
Yeah. So I don't, and they're like in the background, like trying to figure things out on their end, the Beyond people. And I don't know. It was whatever to me. I gave it a 3 personally. This one.
Yeah, I'll give it a 3.5 just because I liked the build up to this Door Z. You know, unfortunately, the reveal wasn't. Yeah. The reveal was worth a 2, but they did kind of hook me in on that for a bit.
2 more issues to go before the relaunch. Well, okay, well
I wonder if it's a relaunch though. If they're going to continue this, maybe they're going to kind of continue like the same, not same story.
Yeah,
like continue the same timeline at least.
Oh, I'm sure they are, but I mean like a relaunch and they're renumbering it. Sorry, a renumbering a 10.
Yeah.
Not a reimagining of it, but
who knows? They're like, what's there? 90 is it 93? Is at the end?
Yes.
Is 93 the cover where it's Spider-Man fighting Spider-Man?
I think so. I think 93 is the last issue, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Because April, once that hits, I think that's when we're getting.
Yep. Yeah. Well, there's also a variant issue for Spider-Man #1, a Gleason variant.
Yeah.
That's being hinted at in this issue, though.
Yes.
Like when he's looking into his mask and it's getting all fuzzy or something.
Yeah.
That could be something. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess we'll see.
We'll see.
All right, so that's gonna do it for our big week of comics this week, though. I hope you guys liked hearing us talk about those. It's always fun chatting with Chris about these things. Huge week, though. Sometimes we get these huge weeks. There's a lot of books to get through, but I like that we actually had a lot of books that we talked about, also that we both read this week. So yeah, it was a lot of fun as always. All right, and the only thing I really have to mention about in the news here today is that, like many other people, I'm sure that may be watching this show, I ended up going to watch the new movie, The Batman, yesterday, and I gotta say I quite enjoyed it. So definitely go check it out, guys. If I was gonna nitpick and be critical of the film, there are some things I didn't love about it, but overall, I think they did a lot right to the character and like great performances, a really great cast. And a lot of things I think that were interesting and different that other Batman films haven't done before. So in that sense, they took a lot of chances. So I got to commend them on doing that kind of stuff too, like trying something different in a lot of aspects of the film and being a little bit different than everything that's really come before a bit at times in that sense. So yeah, so I really did quite enjoy it. I think it's definitely worth it. It is a 3-hour film, so if you are gonna go, don't be like me, maybe try not to get the super large pop, so you got to run out twice during the movie. So luckily,
how's his voice as Batman?
Good.
Does he like I'm Batman and
I mean, there's a bit of a grizzle to it. It's not as put on, I think, as the Christian Bale Batman voice or the voices that people have come to know about, that people that do Batman, like even the people that make fun of the Batman voice and the put on voice that he does. But yeah, at times it was, I think he kind of leaned into it for the moments he had to. And in other moments, it wasn't as bad, I felt, because he's got a low voice, I think, anyways. So it was
I know this is a spoiler here, but is there any sort of DCEU connection, or you
not
don't want to?
not current DC. I think they're starting their own kind
Oh,
of,
so this might be a tent pole or whatever they want to call those
yeah.
movies
So
where they might try.
for their
If
own,
this is super successful, they can branch out from here.
yeah. So let's just say there was references or direct appearances of people that we've seen previous to this film that now are different actors.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
there is a connection, but not a connection to the Snyderverse stuff.
Yeah.
Which I think is a good thing, because I think that era of Batman is over now. They've moved away from Ben Affleck. So this
I
is
don't know. I heard he still might be in the Flash.
well, there's that. I think
But
that's the last thing he filmed. But that's what I'm saying. Like, it's weird. DC hasn't really lined up everything like
they haven't locked down their characters. Like what's his name? Henry Cavill. He's in, he's out, he's not, he is. Who knows?
I
It's
know.
still up in the air.
So they've never did a good job, I think, of doing that kind of stuff like Marvel has.
Yeah.
So like even the person that I'm referencing here, we've probably seen many other versions and other things at this point, right? So that I'll leave it at that. But
yeah, okay. I don't want to. Yeah, there's just questions I wonder, but
yeah. I try to be non-spoiler for you guys.
yeah, no worries. All good, all good. Still early too. It's only day one,
Yeah, it
day
actually
one, day two, day three from the movie.
out to here today in theaters, anyways. But obviously there was other screenings. So, all right, though, let's get into what we are picking up next week for you guys. Chris, if you have your list ready.
I got a list. Devil's Reign 5, Punisher 1, Sabretooth 2, Spider-Gwen, Spider-Man 92, Thor 23, that could be a big one. Venom 6. I might be getting back on board Venom.
Yeah.
The last one was pretty good.
Yes.
This Woman of Marvel. Fuck, another big week again, I think. X Lives, X Deaths.
Both of them, yeah.
This Justice League versus Legion of Superheroes, I think I don't know how long it goes, but I got it on pre-order, or I got it on the pull list, so I'm getting it. I might get this Trial of Amazons. It's starting to sound a little bit more interesting.
Yeah.
And Spawn 327.
All right, yeah, I got another decent sized week as well. We got Amazing Spider-Man 92, Devil's Reign 5, King of Spies 4. That's the last issue of that miniseries. You got a new start to a new Jeff Lemire image series, Little Monsters 1. Really looking forward to that. Punisher #1, the return of one of my favorite characters. I mean, I'm really excited for that one. Written by one of my favorite writers, so I
want to see how it fits in the hand.
I hope it's good.
He's going to lead the hand, right? Is that what it is?
He'll lead the hand from what we were, especially even at the end of this Daredevil Woman of Fear. That's what they're making it look like, right? Or he's their main pawn. I don't know. I mean, the hand.
Yeah, well, he can't be a pawn. Wow, who knows? We'll see. We'll find out next week.
Yeah, I guess so. I hope it's good. I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Here's a book that I actually said was going to come out this week, last week, but then I guess they pushed it back another week, and that's Red Room Trigger Warnings #1. That's a dark comic, man. So I'm picking that up. That's a pretty interesting one. Strange Academy 17. We got Thor 23. And then also Devil's Reign Superior 4 #3. This is the last issue of that. That's been really good. Also Superman Son of Kal-El, which is the tie-in issue to the Nightwing.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Yeah, so I normally don't pick that up, but I'll be picking it up. Maybe I'll read it digitally. I don't know, because I don't normally pick that series
That's
up.
a good idea.
Yeah, I think I might read
that
one.
That story freaking great there.
Yeah,
go on.
I think I'm gonna read that one digitally. So and then X Deaths of Wolverine and Lives of Wolverine. So yeah, that's my list for next week. I would say out of these things, though, the things I'm most looking forward to is Punisher #1, Thor, and Little Monsters.
Well, Devil's Reign 5 because that stupid Elektra.
5. Yeah, you know what? There's a few good ones here. King of Spies 4 is the last issue of King of Spies. Yeah, and Red Room. Yeah, there's almost my whole list. Actually, I'm really looking forward to. So that's a good sign. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that to this next week. So yeah, nice. All right, Chris, the moment of truth. I know yours already. I mean, if you give it to something other than the book I think it is, then I'm gonna call bullshit on your part. All right. So for me, I'll go first then. For me, I at least for the ratings wise, there's 3 contenders. I gave 5 to Fantastic Four crossover and Dark Knights of Steel. I'm gonna take Fantastic Four out of the running for this one, just because, like, it didn't meet. I'll tell you this: I actually, upon the conversation we had us having on the show here today, I probably changed my mind on this. I originally was gonna go with crossover number 12 after reading it, but other than like the fun factor of Kirkman being in this and him getting his ass handed to him and getting killed in this comic,
You make me want to read it though.
it was great. It was great. It was a close call. Honestly, I think it was until this show I was picking crossover 12 until we're actually recording. But this is undeniable that to be the pick of the favorite of the week this time. Because like I said, it's the best issue probably of the series so far. So yeah, this is my favorite of the week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had to, but this was
Yeah, it's amazing.
It's not just one twist at the end too. Like there's big things going on with like I almost want to talk about it on our next issue, next episode, just so we can kind of just unpack what was going on in there.
We should, guys. Yeah, maybe we'll dedicate some time to it at the top of the show in the next episode. So, guys, make sure you're reading Dark Knights of Steel. It's a great book. It was our favorite book of the week here this week. It was Chris's first number 5 rating, 5 out of 5.
I didn't give one out, but everything was. I had to like the times I did. I wanted to give out a 5, but just something was off.
Yeah,
nothing was off in this one.
Absolutely, I agree with you, man. All right. So with that all being said, though, make sure you're subscribed to the channel, guys. Make sure to hit that like button. If you want to be notified of when these videos come out weekly, hit that notification bell. All kinds of different comic content on the channel here. All kinds of different videos that we're doing. Actually, Chris, if you want to tease it now, we do other kinds of videos on this channel here too, on the late night collectors community. We also do a bunch of stuff, trading card type videos of like people that collect different types of cards. And Chris might have something to tease for you guys here.
If you're into the hockey cards, you might be cracking, I think this a hobby box. It's at the 21, 22 series 1.
Yeah,
everybody's been waiting months for this. I think the hockey season's gonna be over by the time this comes out, but I don't know. We'll see if we can find some young guns and whatever else comes in this junk.
Yeah, so if you guys are into cards, make sure to check out our other show that we do here on the late night collectors community, Cracking Packs with the Chat. We actually just celebrated our 50th episode this past week of that with Peter and Christine, frequent guests on Cracking Packs with the Chat, as they open up the new Pokemon card series, Brilliant Stars. And no major hitters. And and Jesse, for that matter, from Minty Cards was on the episode as well. Jesse,
Minty Cards had their show last weekend, didn't they?
Did, and it apparently went very well. There was
I saw some of the posts there on Instagram, and it looks like it was well attended, and
yeah,
and it was like a good place for just like average show, like $50 to put up a table, and if you want to get your stuff out there,
yeah,
and I'm sure you could probably get some good deals if you went.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I hope you guys all took our advice and attended that show here in Bradford. It was the Minty Cards show. Make sure to check them out. They're on Instagram, as well as Peter's card.
Don't they have some card meetup again? Like I remember seeing something that they were meeting at it's like a Shoeless Joe's or somewhere, like St. Clair or something. I'm not sure exactly where it was, but
follow them on Instagram. It's _ Minty Cards _ on Instagram. I believe they'll probably provide details on there about it. And shout out to the Pack Shack as well. That's Peter's little card company there that they got going. That you might see these guys if you're local at the shows here in Toronto, different places in Ontario. Yeah, they're doing their thing out there. So shout out to them. And make sure you guys check out Cracking Packs with the Chat if you're into the cards. Yeah, and hopefully me and Chris, when we get together, we'll be able to crack this baby open and Chris can pull some fire out of that one. So I'm really looking forward to that. So it'll be good. All right. With that being said, though, guys, we'll see you guys next week. Thank you for tuning in as always. And yeah, we'll see you next time.
All right. Cheers, guys.